The legend of Mao, the warrior of Nagaland. In a small village surrounded by towering mountains and dense forests, a boy was born who was destined to change the course of his people. From childhood, Mao showed exceptional abilities. He not only excelled in combat, but also had a deep connection with the nature around him. While other children played carelessly, he spent hours observing the flight of birds, listening to the whisper of the wind through the trees, and feeling the vibration of the earth beneath his feet. This curiosity led him to develop a unique understanding of the natural world, a gift that would prepare him for his future. The elders of the tribe, aware of Mao's potential, decided that he should be instructed in the ancient arts of war. From a very young age, he was taught to use the bow and arrow, wield the sword, and learn battle tactics. His training was intense. Every afternoon, under the setting sun, he trained with other young warriors, forging not only his body, but also his mind. He learned that war was not just about brute strength, but also about strategy, cunning, and the ability to read the environment. As he grew older, Mao stood out for his natural leadership ability. He was not only a formidable warrior, but also a charismatic leader, capable of uniting his people in times of crisis. His fame quickly spread beyond his village, and he soon became an advisor to many. However, despite his growing status, he never lost his humility. He always remembered the lessons of the elders and the deep respect he owed to nature and his people. The peace in his region, however, was fragile. Over time, tensions began to grow between neighboring tribes. Rumors spread that a group of ambitious invaders was preparing to attack, seeking to conquer the fertile lands of Nagaland. On dark nights when silence enveloped the village, Mao dreamed of a future full of hope, but he also felt in his heart that war was inevitable. The unrest grew among the villagers, who looked to Mao for strength and leadership. When the rumors of the imminent invasion were confirmed, the village fell into despair. Anguish and fear took hold of the people, but Mao refused to let fear consume them. He realized that he had to act, and immediately decided to embark on a journey to the highest mountain, a sacred place known as the Summit of the Spirits. The elders had spoken to him about this place, where it was said that the ancestors and spirits of nature manifested to guide those who were worthy. With his heart pounding and determination etched into his being, Mao began his ascent of the mountain. As he climbed, the conditions became more difficult. The air grew colder, and the fog began to envelop the path as if the mountain itself were testing his resolve. But each step he took brought him closer to his purpose. He knew that there, at the summit, he would find the guidance and strength he needed to protect his people. Upon reaching the summit, Mao knelt and placed offerings of flowers, fruits, and incense. With a powerful voice, he called out to the spirits, "O spirits of my ancestors, hear my call. I come to ask for your help in this time of need. My people face invaders, and together we must fight to preserve our land and our culture." His words echoed among the rocks, and in that instant, the mountain seemed to come alive. Mao felt a change in the air, as if the mountain were responding to his plea. Suddenly, the sky lit up with a supernatural glow, and the wind began to blow fiercely. Around him, visions of serpents and dragons emerged from the clouds, dancing in circles, as if recognizing his noble heart and purpose. The spirits of nature and the ancestors manifested before him, filling him with a powerful energy that enveloped him in a mantle of light and strength. The presence of these mythical creatures filled him with a deep serenity. With each beat of his heart, he felt his connection with nature deepen. In that moment, he understood that he was not alone. The strength of his ancestors supported him. He vowed to use that energy not only to fight, but also to protect his people and honor the land he loved so much. It was a sacred commitment that he engraved into his soul. As he descended the mountain, Mao was revitalized. The energy he had received filled him with determination. He knew he had to share this experience with his people. Upon reaching the village, he called all the tribe members together and fervently recounted what had happened at the summit. He spoke of the dragons and serpents that accompanied him, of the strength the spirits would grant them. Every word he spoke was a thread that united his people, forging an indestructible bond between them. The news of his invocation spread like wildfire on a dry day. The warriors, women, and elders joined him, feeling that their destiny was interconnected. In those days leading up to the battle, Mao organized training, strategies, and rituals to invoke even more strength from their ancestors. The tribe worked together, each member committed to giving their best. The nights were filled with songs and dances, reinforcing the bonds between them and strengthening the fighting spirit that each one carried within. The village became a hive of activity. The women wove flags in the tribe's colors, while the men forged weapons and prepared armor. The elders shared stories of courage and resilience, reminding the younger ones of the importance of unity and love for the land. The connection with the ancestors became palpable, and every story was a seed that blossomed in the hearts of the tribe. Finally, the day of confrontation arrived. The invading forces, more numerous and heavily armed, marched with arrogance, believing victory would be easy. But what they did not know was that true power is not measured in numbers but in the determination and love for the land one defends. On the front lines, Mao stood at the forefront, his sword raised and his heart full of courage. He was not just a warrior, he was the symbol of his people's resistance. With the sound of a horn announcing the start of the battle, Mao raised his sword to the sky and once again called out to the spirits. A deafening roar resonated among his tribe's warriors, as if the dragons that had accompanied him were joining the fight. The warriors of Nagaland, inspired by their leader and the energy surrounding them, charged at the enemy, empowered by their faith and the certainty that they were not alone. As the battle raged on, sweat and blood mixed in the soil, but the determination of the warriors of Nagaland only grew. The invaders, surprised by the ferocity and unity of the tribe, began to falter. Mao's confidence, reinforced by his connection with the spirits, drove him forward. In every encounter, he remembered the ritual on the mountain and the promise to protect his home. The warriors, driven by the instinct of survival and the will to protect their loved ones, fought as if their souls were at stake. The sound of clashing metal, war cries, and the warriors' labored breaths created a chaotic symphony. But amid that chaos there was order. Mao led, moving his tribe with unmatched precision and skill. He was a true master of the art of war. With each victory, the warriors' morale strengthened. The invaders, who at first seemed invincible, began to lose their confidence. As the battle dragged on, it became clear that the power of love and unity within the tribe was triumphing over the arrogance and ambition of the enemy. The warriors of Nagaland began to gain ground, pushing the invaders back, and with each step, their shouts echoed with the victory that was to come. Mao, driven by the strength of his ancestors, stood firm on the battlefield. His sword gleamed under the sun, and each strike was a reminder that his people would not surrender. In the midst of the fight, he watched his people. Their courage filled him with pride. The warriors fought not only for themselves, but for the future of their tribe, for the legacy they would leave to the next generations. It was a sacred moment where every sword stroke resonated with the echo of their ancestors. The battle continued, and the sun began to descend on the horizon, painting the sky a deep red. At that crucial moment, when fatigue threatened to weaken the warriors, Mao rose once again. With a powerful voice, he reminded his tribe why they fought. "We are not alone. Our ancestors accompany us. Our spirits guide us. Together, we are stronger than any enemy. We fight for our land, for our families, and for our future." His speech resonated among the warriors, igniting a new spark of determination. With renewed vigor, they charged at the enemy once more, who, demoralized by the fervor and unity of the warriors of Nagaland, began to retreat. The invaders, who once seemed invincible, were now filled with doubt. Mao's warriors were not just fighting with their bodies, they were fighting with the heart and soul of an entire culture. Finally, after hours of tireless fighting, victory became palpable. The invaders, overwhelmed by the indomitable spirit of the tribe, began to withdraw. The battle had been tough, but the sacrifice had been worth it. With the final war cry, the warriors of Nagaland surged forward, taking the fight to their enemies and securing their victory. The celebration of the victory was deafening. The village erupted in jubilation, embracing, crying, and laughing. They had won not only a battle, but also the hope and future they had longed for. Amid the clamor, Mao felt full of gratitude and humility. He knew that his role did not end here. He had to be a guardian and a symbol for his people. The victory had united the tribe in a way that no war could undo. After the victory, life in the village began to transform. Mao, although exhausted, felt that his true work was just beginning. The battle had been won, but the legacy of what they had achieved needed to be cemented. The summit of the spirits became a sacred place where members of the tribe came to pay homage to their ancestors and give thanks for the victory. Each year, on the anniversary of the battle, the village gathered at that place, remembering the spirits that had guided them. Mao's story spread, becoming a legend that would endure for generations. Festivals were held in his honor, where his feats were recounted, and the bravery of all the warriors who fought by his side was celebrated. These festivals were filled with dances, music, and rituals that reminded everyone of the importance of unity and strength in the face of adversity. The young learned about their culture and the history of their people, empowered by Mao's legacy. Mao became a symbol of hope and resistance. His teachings on courage, unity, and respect for nature became fundamental principles in the tribe's daily life. Every member of the village, from the elders to the youngest, carried Mao's story in their hearts. The legends were told around the fire, and each story renewed the fighting spirit and connection to their roots. The elders, guardians of tradition, ensured that Mao's story was never forgotten. They passed on his legacy to new generations, reminding them of the importance of fighting for what is just and protecting the land that gave them life. Every child who grew up heard about the brave warrior who had united his people, and in every corner of Nagaland, his name became synonymous with courage. As time passed, the mountain that had once been just a place of invocation transformed into a sacred site. Every pilgrim who ascended the summit of the spirits felt the connection to Mao's story and the strength of the ancestors. The spirituality of the mountain intertwined with love for the land and the commitment to protect it. Mao's legend became a beacon of light guiding his people, reminding them that true strength lies in unity and love for the land. Thus, the story of Mao, the warrior of Nagaland, endured through the centuries, a legacy of courage, unity, and love that inspired entire generations. Each time the village celebrated their victory, they reaffirmed their identity and connection to the land. The legend became a thread linking the past and the present, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, the light of unity and bravery will always prevail. Over time, Mao became not only a respected warrior but also a spiritual leader. After the battle, his role transformed. He devoted himself to guiding his people not only in war, but in peace. He understood that the true strength of a community lies in its ability to heal and grow after conflict. Aware of the need to cultivate wisdom, he began organizing gatherings where the elders shared their knowledge and experiences, fostering an environment of learning and respect. In these gatherings, Mao urged his people to reflect on the lessons learned during the battle. He reminded them that war, although sometimes inevitable, should be the last resort. Peace was the true goal they should pursue. Thus, he began implementing practices that promoted conflict resolution through dialogue and understanding. He encouraged the idea that every individual had a role in the community and that love for the land and between its inhabitants should be the foundation of their culture. As generations grew, Mao's influence remained palpable. The young learned not only about bravery in battle, but also about the importance of caring for their environment. The connection with nature, which Mao had felt since childhood, became an essential pillar of their culture. Teachings about preserving natural resources, sustainable agriculture, and respect for flora and fauna were passed on fervently. Mao urged everyone to see nature as an ally, not a resource to exploit. The festivals that celebrated the victory over the invaders also became moments to honor nature. During these festivities, the tribe performed rituals to give thanks to the land for its fruits and the life it provided. Each year they planted trees on the mountain and organized ceremonies where prayers were offered to the spirits of nature. Thus, a legacy of responsibility and care for the environment was cemented, making the tribe defenders of their home. Mao's figure continued to inspire many beyond his time. As his story was told and retold, it adapted to new realities. Later generations began to understand that Mao's struggle had not only been against an external enemy, but also an internal struggle to maintain cohesion and cultural identity. In a changing world where external influences began to emerge, the people of Nagaland clung to their roots with greater strength. Within this evolution, community councils were formed to discuss important issues for the people. Mao had taught that every person's voice mattered and that decision-making should be a collective process. This strengthened the bonds between community members and created a sense of belonging. Women, young people, and elders began to actively participate in the political and social life of the tribe, reflecting Mao's inclusive vision. The connection to Mao's story grew even stronger as the people began documenting his legacy. Books and stories were created, recounting not only his story, but also the stories of those who accompanied him in battle. Historical figures that had been forgotten began to resurface, and the people realized that every individual had a role in their collective history. Stories of bravery, sacrifice, and love for the land intertwined, forming a rich and complex narrative that resonated with the hearts of all. Mao, though now elderly, remained a beacon of light for his people. His wisdom was evident in every decision he made and every piece of advice he offered. In his final years, he devoted himself to guiding the youth, sharing his experiences and teachings. He urged them to be brave not only in battle but also in the pursuit of truth and justice. The true victory, he used to say, is not the one celebrated on the battlefield but the one conquered in each person's heart. Finally, on his deathbed, surrounded by his tribe, Mao felt a deep peace. He had fulfilled his mission and sown the seeds of hope and unity. His final words echoed in everyone's hearts. Always fight for what you love, but remember that love is the true force that will unite us. Protect our land, our culture, and never let fear extinguish the flame of hope. Mao left this world, but his legacy endured. The legend of the warrior of Nagaland became a fundamental pillar of his people's cultural identity. His life, his struggle, and his teachings continued to inspire generations, reminding everyone that in life, love, unity, and respect are the true victories to be sought. Over the years, Mao's story remained alive as an eternal reminder that the true strength of a people lies in their ability to remain united and defend what they love. The Naga culture refers to the traditions, customs, and beliefs of the Naga people, a group of indigenous tribes primarily residing in northeastern India and parts of Myanmar. These tribes, while diverse, share deep cultural roots and a strong sense of collective identity. The Naga are known for their rich oral heritage, which includes creation stories, mythology, legends of heroes and iconic figures, as well as traditional music and dance. With a history marked by struggles for autonomy and the preservation of their culture against external influences, Naga culture offers a unique perspective on the diversity and resilience of indigenous cultures. Understanding their history is important because Naga tales not only reflect their values and worldview, but also remind us of the significance of preserving indigenous cultures in a globalized world. Their history provides lessons on connection to nature, community, and survival in the face of adversity. Thank you for joining us on this magical journey through the stories and legends of the Naga tribe. If you enjoyed this video and want to discover more ancient tales, don't forget to give it a like and share it with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming legends. Every week we'll bring you new stories filled with mystery, wisdom, and magic. See you in the next tale.